everybody, today we will talk of another examples good knight against bad bishop. Let us see. Bishop take in b5. This is an exclamative point. White wants to enter in a superior ending good knight against bad bishop. Because, as we see, the pawn in d5 makes the bishop in c6 passive. Bishop take, rook c3, and after b6, knight can play. Knight a4, exclamative point. He attacks the b6, or if he changed the rooks, black changed the rook, white can take with the knight. And after rook take, knight take, we enter in the main course of the ending. But let us see if black plays rook e8. Rook c7, check. And after rook e7, white changes the rook and then play knight c3, and we enter in the main course of the ending. But to take in b6, it's a very dangerous move for white, because black can activate his king on the queen side, while the white king is too far. Let us see. King d6, a4, bishop e8, a5, king c6, g4, bishop f7. Black defends the d5. And then he has the idea to play bishop e6 and then king b5 in order to limit the knight to go in d7. Yes, g5, take, and then king b5. After b3, king take. Knight e4 is the only move in order to go knight c5. Now black plays bishop f5, knight take, but king c3. As we see, black stands a little bit better, because after the fall of the pawns, black creates the passed pawn on d5, and the bishop is better than knight. But let us see the main course of the ending. Knight take, bishop c6, king f1. We have to say now that white wants to go on the fourth rank first. But it's not possible, because after king e6, as we see, king f5, king f3, white cannot catch the important f4 square first. Now, white wants to push in g4. Black pushes h5. This is an error, a strategical mistake, because black is putting another pawn on the same color of the bishop. Knight d1 was the idea. Knight check and then king f4. Knight check. Here, king f4. Now we have to tell here that this is this ending is a little bit better for white, because white now, with the king on the fourth rank, is more active than the black king that stay on the sixth rank, the first thing. And then he has a good knight against bad bishop. Let us see bishop e2, f3, bishop d3, knight d1. Why knight d1? White wants to go knight c3 and with idea knight e4 here. This is the idea of white. Bishop f1, g3, bishop here, knight c3, bishop d7, g4, bishop c6. He has to wait, but b3 now. This move is a very, very strong move. And I show you this move puts black into Zwang. Yes. The idea is to put the knight in a4. After knight in a4, okay, white attacks the b6 pawn. And black cannot take the knight with the bishop in a4 because he loses the pawn ending. Because white king is more active than the black king. Let us see. Black has taken in g4. But let us see, for example, if black plays another move, for example, a waiting move, king e7. This move doesn't help black to save the ending. Take first in h5, takes, and now knight a4, exclamative point. As we see, for example, if black takes the knight, is a grave error because black falls into Zwang. Takes, and after a5, take, or for example after b5, white can play a3, and black is into Zwang. Or let us see, it doesn't change anything, a4. If it goes here, black goes in a5. But after f4, this is a spare time for white. And now the white king enters in the opponent's field. And after f5, as we see, white has a winning in game, taking the d5 pawn. Let us see after knight f5, knight a4, b5. Knight c5. White attacks the pawn. He has to push the pawn. But now white has to play immediately a3 in order not to allow b4 pawn, the pushing before. Knight b7. This is a strong move. What's the idea? To put another pawn on the same color of the bishop. As we see now, black has 3 weaknesses, okay? 3 pawns on the same color of the bishop. Knight c5. Knight b4, exclamative point, bishop check. And after bishop here, knight d3. White can play king a3 and then knight f4 to attack on the same time. At the same time, the both pawns, the both weakness. Yes, black loses one of the pawns. For that reason, let us see the main course of the ending. Take, take. Here, I did d1. What's the idea now? The idea is knight a3, g5. Okay, with the idea knight g4 to open the e5 square for the king or for the knight. Bishop d7, knight e3, but bishop e6, g5, exclamative point. king g7. Now white can take, and after a3 we see that black is okay, black can be fallen in Zugzwang. Let us see after a4, a5, a4 exclamative. An excellent move putting black in Zugzwang. Because black cannot go away with a bishop in d7, for example, because he loses the pawn in d5. He cannot play bishop f7 because he plays knight check. He cannot go away with the king because white enters in e5. After bishop f7, knight check, king g7, king e5, and as we see, this is a winning ending for white, because the d5 pawn falls, knight take, but king d6, exclamative point. Black has to leave the bishop, but he loses the ending, because knight stops or blocks the both pawns. King b5 and knight b1, okay, white can win as well. Black here resigns. But in this instructive example, I should like to tell you that it's not so easy for white to win only with one weakness. For that reason, he has to create another weakness on the king side in order to win. We have to conclude with this video and to see you the next video. Good study. Bye. Hello everybody. I am International Master Buli Vangjel, and today we talk of good knight against bad bishop. This position derives from the Caro-Kann defense. Let us see how black can take a great advantage here. Queen f5, exclamative point. Immediately black goes to attack a2 pawn and force white's queen to defend the a2 pawn or to take in c5. Let us see. Queen f5. White played queen f5, but after queen b1, this is a passive move. Black can play queen d2, bishop f1, because the a3 to play a3 and b4, it's not a good move, because black can play queen c3, and after b4 he takes in c4, the pawn. For that reason, let us see queen f1, but after f5, bishop d3, g6. It's very good. What's the idea? To push e5 and to defend the f5 pawn. Bishop f1, a5, g4, but a5, and we see the white's position is very, very passive. Queen d3, but after queen d3, black can change the queen and not to take in a2 to complicate the matters, because okay, he plays queen a3. It's better to change the queen after take, but e4, and we see after bishop b1, now black can continue king g7, king g2, king f6, king g3. It's not good because of the knight e2, king g2 and knight c3. And this is a winning position, okay? Black takes the a2 pawn and has a very active king. Now let us see the game. Queen f5. After queen f5, black takes in e2, white takes in c5, but queen b1 check, king h2, and now queen b2, exclamative point. This is, okay, the key move of the position. What's the idea? To take in f2 and then to play knight f3 check with the mate in g1. Let us see. Black plays queen take in e7. Okay, but for example, if white defends the f2 pawn, queen check, queen e2, queen d2, you see the technique that use black to get near, okay, to defend the knight and to get near the white's king. King g1, because to take in a7, okay, we enter in the main course of the ending. Queen take. Let us see. King g1, queen check, bishop f1, but now black can take the pawn in b3, and then knight d2 with a winning position. Yes, for that reason, let us see the main course of the ending. Queen take in f2. Now the simple idea is to play check and to take the queen in e7 with discovery move. But king h1, f5 was the idea of the black, to push e5 and then e4. Okay, b4, to play immediately c5 to close, okay, this diagonal. It's not good because black can profit immediately playing knight e2 with idea the mate in g1 or to take with check in g3. For that reason, let us see. After queen a1, black can take the pawn, and after queen a1, not to go with the knight in d4, but immediately queen a3. After king h2, h5, exclamative point, which is the idea to push h4, take and queen check. And then black can win the queen with check in f4 or check in g3. Yes, let us see. h4, g5, exclamative point. Take h4, because after take, queen h5. And now black gains the queen with discovery move, knight f4 or knight in g3. If kings goes knight h1, for example. Okay, knight g3, check, and black can take the queen. Or after queen h3, knight f4. Yes, let us see. Before, after b4, king h7. It's better to go away because after b5, now e5, and this is position, this is a winning position for black. Why? Because he cannot push b6 or he cannot push c5 because of the knight e2. For example, after b6, knight e2 with idea mate. For that reason, white can play here, but after queen b6. Okay. Black has a winning endgame. Yes, after g4, let us see. What aims white with g4? To open the e4 square for the check, for the bishop. Okay. But black plays first queen check in a1. Okay, takes under control the e4 square, and after here he plays exclamative point f4 with idea now f3. For that reason, queen a4 check. Now king g8, queen d5, king f8, queen d8, but here doesn't exist the perpetual check for that reason. Or for example, let us see queen check in e8, king f7, king b7. White goes, black now, excuse me, goes on the dark square. Queen check, king g5. Let us see. Queen b7. Okay, he wants to take king g7, but king h4. And after queen check, g5. And now black wants, okay, to play knight f3 and mate in g1. For that reason, after this, king g3, as we see, with unavoidable mate in a1 or take in g2. For that reason, queen take, let us see, king f7, king d7, king g6, exclamative point, and after king d6, king h7. And white resigned here because of the f3 or knight f3 check, the double threats. Yes, here we conclude this ending. This is instructive ending. Good night with queens against bishop and queen. Bye. We see the next video.